Francisco Gento Lopez, widely recognized as one of the greatest Spanish footballers of all time and one of the most decorated to ever don the whites of Real Madrid. In his stellar career, he won 23 trophies, which included 12 La Liga titles and 6 European Cups, a record which still remains untouched as half a century passed by. But keeping aside the laurels and the impressive medal haul, Paco is remembered as a man who would mesmerize the crowd and would terrorize rival defenses. He was widely recognized as one of the greatest left wingers in the history of football, and on this solemn occasion we would be looking at the life and the career of Paco Gento. It truly was an extraordinary career, and in this video we would be attempting to provide maximum coverage to how things unfolded in the life of the great Paco Gento. Born in the village of Guarnesio in the Cantabrian region of northwest Spain, Gento was the son of a lorry driver and worked in the farm fields and herded cows to support his father. He dropped out of school and started playing football for Neva, Montana, where he spent 2 seasons, but Gento would also succeed in athletics. He participated in 100 meters where he developed his phenomenal speed, and it is alleged that Gento, at his peak with Real Madrid, could click 100 meters in 11 seconds and was just as fast with or without the ball. But talking about the roots, Paco played for many amateur clubs before he would finally break into professional football with his local side Racing Santander. He made his debut in 1953, but as fate would have it, Paco could only spend a very short time there. He played 10 games and scored 2 goals for Racing, but the game where he played against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu caught the attention of many scouts. Racing lost 2-1 to Real Madrid, but the lost bad cause were amazed by the speedy winger and quickly concluded the transfer in August that year. The timing of Gento's move to Real Madrid was spot on, as he formed a part of a frightening forward line alongside Stefano, Puskás, Copa and Real. The legendary forward line would lead Real Madrid to world supremacy, but it would be wrong to suggest that Gento had a smooth start to begin with. The burst of pace which got him the nickname the Storm of Cantabria wasn't much appreciated in the early days. Many of his teammates complained about not being able to cope up with the frantic runs, and he failed to make an impression in his early months. Reminiscing his early days at Real Madrid, Paco had said, "The fans used to say I'd run so fast I'd run off the pitch, leaving the ball behind. But everything can change depending on your willpower and the sacrifice you're willing to make. You have to really love football and want to be the best." And that indeed was the case for Gento. He was on the verge of going back to Racing at the end of the first season, but it was another Madrid great, Alfredo Di Stefano, who would convince the club president to keep him on. He was the one who had urged Bernabeu, saying that Gento had a fierce shot and pace like nobody else, and everything else could be taught. So taking the advice of Stefano, the president Bernabeu brought in the Argentine Hector Real, who matched Gento's pace on the opposite wing, and it is said that it was Hector Real who helped to tame the runs of Paco Gento. He turned out to be Gento's master, who taught him the secrets of distance, touch and passing, and as the years went by, Gento started winning over everyone in the club. He formed a great connection with Alfredo Di Stefano. It is said that Stefano could find Gento blindfolded with an orthodox pass to the left wing or even with a backheel pass, and then Gento would go chasing down the left wing and put in some remarkable crosses, which quite often would be finished off by the other forwards in the centre. And talking more about Gento's influence, he started in the finals of the first 6 European Cup triumphs and played a crucial role in Madrid taking home the trophies. In 1955 against Reims in Paris, he set up the winning goal for Hector Real, which sealed a victory for Madrid in a pulsating match that ended 4-3. In 1957 European Cup final at Real Madrid's home ground, he scored the second goal in a 2-0 victory over Fiorentina. Another vital Gento goal would come in the final of 1958 against Milan in Brussels, where he scored the winner in extra time, and Madrid would go on to win the match 3-2. So Gento's stature was growing and he kept tormenting defenses on the left wing. However, there was an interview in which Paco demanded more from himself and showcased the elite mentality to become a better player for his side. There are also some suggestions that Gento wanted to play more as an inside forward, but catering to the requirements of the team was always his priority. He had said, "I'm a dissatisfied player, not with my club, my contract, nor my way of life, but with myself and these raw bubbling elements of my ability, which I try so hard to constantly improve upon and to make more efficient. I'm also dissatisfied with my position as a left winger, accepting it gladly only because I know it to be the one in which I am of most value to Real Madrid." So as you see, Gento, who was at one point on the verge of leaving Real Madrid, had started to create his own legacy by delivering in vital moments. He did play in the shadows of bigger names, but his contribution was equally valuable. He would further go on to collect European Cup medals in 1959 and 1960, but it was the 1966 European Cup triumph which was the closest to his heart. At that point, Gento had become a seasoned campaigner and was the captain of the side. His team was known as the Ye Ye Real Madrid, with Ye Ye being a reference to the Beatles songs She Loves You, which had Ye 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 in the chorus. And talking more about the team that he captained, the nickname first appeared in the caption of a photo in Marca after the European Cup finals in 1966, and this was due to a photographer, Felix Lozaro, who had taken a photo of 4 Real Madrid players wearing wigs resembling the Beatles. This was the post-Stefano era where the team had to rebuild following European Cup loss in 1964, and this side under the captaincy of Gento was more youthful, and Bernabeu had assembled a team of quality players. It comprised the likes of Velasquez, Amancio, Zocco, Sanchez, Piri and Grosso amongst the rest. The 1966 European Cup triumph brought back the jubilation in the Madrid camp, and the fact they had all homegrown players in the side made the achievement even more extraordinary. Under Miguel Monzo as the coach and Gento as the captain with a young and dynamic side, Real Madrid looked forward to another era of dominance, but unfortunately things didn't go as expected, at least on the European front. They kept winning La Liga in 67, 68 and 69, but Gento couldn't win the beloved competition anymore, which was a bitter experience for both the players and the fans. Looking at Gento's achievement with his national side, it is a bit less illustrious, but we have to consider that the Spanish team during that era wasn't as dominant as it has been in recent times. Gento played in 43 international matches and scored 5 goals. He played in the World Cup qualifiers in 1958, but Spain had failed to qualify. However, he did play in the 1962 World Cup, where he was declared the best left winger by many football pundits. Gento would also feature in the 1966 World Cup in England, and he played his final match for the national team in 1969, which was a qualifier for the 1970 World Cup, and Spain had thrashed Finland 6-0. But coming back to Gento's time with the Lost Plant cause, with the passage of time, Gento's prodigious qualities faded little by little. His sudden burst of pace became less frequent, but nevertheless his presence guided the youngsters and brought order in the side. In 1971, Gento made the difficult decision of hanging up his boots. He had to leave his beloved Real Madrid. Father Time had caught up with him, and he had to step aside from the likes of Madrid. However, after having a short spell in politics, he would return to the game, managing small teams like Castelló, Valencia and Granada, in addition to a stint in Castilla, but unfortunately he couldn't reach the heights of his playing career. He finally ended up taking up the ambassadorial role with Real Madrid. After the demise of the great Alfredo Di Stefano, Florentino Perez had proposed a move to make Paco Gento honorary president of the club, and he held that post from December 2015 until his death. So as we see, Paco Gento has made an impeccable contribution to football history, and particularly to Real Madrid. His trophy haul speaks for the impact that he had in the game, but finishing off his biography, I would like to quote the words of Sir Bobby Charlton, who was also amongst the admirers of Paco Gento. The Spaniard had dominated in the European Cup semi-final against Manchester United, and these were the words of Sir Bobby Charlton. Whenever he got into any kind of decent position in the midfield, it was a signal for Gento to fly. Gento would go at 100 miles an hour, and Di Stefano would put the ball unerringly in his path. Gento would go bang, and you just heard yourself saying, "Oh God." It was pure revelation what tactics might neutralize Di Stefano and Gento.